So you played for obviously two different head coaches. You mentioned it before, Beaty. And I think they kind of personality-wise were the same. Obviously not the same, but like they were players, coaches. Would I be right saying that?
Right. No, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of played for the same mentality as a coaching staff, but Les was an all-time recruiter. But at the end of his time at Kansas, he probably wasn't the best game-playing guy. Was that something that you kind of thought throughout the time? Like, hey, he got talent. Like you could arguably say he got probably better talent than Lightfoot has on the team right now. But was it something lacking in the game plan? Like what kind of was it like in Les's tenure when you were there? That 1 year.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point, and yeah, there's no doubt about it. Les can definitely recruit. Like, he's what, 3 years removed now, and if you look at all the guys making plays for KU on Saturday, it's like, pretty much all Les Miles recruit. So, yeah, there's no denying that. But scheme wise, honestly, it was. I feel like he was pretty hands off, except for kind of like some third and fourth down, like short situations where he would implement just kind of like his old school power run offense, which honestly I loved. Like it wasn't necessarily the most successful all the time, but no, it was pretty cool to run some of that stuff. And yeah, I'd say all in all, schematically, he wasn't nearly as hands-on as Beaty was. So, that was definitely a difference between those two. But no, I loved playing for both coaches. I'd say specifically Les, because he was a funny guy, man. Like Mad Hatter, his nickname, that's who he is. Like, what you see is what you get with him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wanted to ask you something along the lines of going from Beaty to Les. What was the major difference between the two, and what was each one of them's strengths?
See, I mean, as far as differences, and I remember thinking this in the moment, and even now to this day, I still kind of think it, but it didn't feel too different. Like we honestly ran everything kind of the same way. There wasn't too many like glaring differences in how we operated on a daily basis or in the off season. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of almost weird because personality wise, they're kind of completely different. And I guess you could say like age and era that they've been completely different, but kind of honestly the same program, I guess.
And I feel like that's the feeling from the outside as well. Like when they switched coaches, when I came and watched Juris's first couple games under Les, like it didn't feel like there wasn't a huge different look. Like we obviously were playing more competitive, and the games that we lost, like we were scoring points. Our offense looked good. Like it was entertaining to watch. I feel like a lot of time under Beaty, it wasn't like that. But like the way it moved, and I think that you can tell the difference. And I'll let you get into it on this because you know more. But like you watched Leipold's team when he got here. It was like a complete 360 of the way that we all carried ourselves, the discipline, like the way you saw like the players on campus. Like I feel like it was a complete culture shock. I don't know how much you talk to the guys still, but that would be pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, just strictly off like the eye test alone, seeing those guys on Saturday, they seem like they attack, so much more, and it's so much more like high powered. And yeah, the crazy thing is looking back on it, I feel somewhat confident in saying like this team this year and last year, like I'd say they're very similar in talent to what we had in 2018 and 2019, my last 2 years out there. But, I think, to be honest with you, the current staff, their scheme, like it's just so much more friendly to playing in matchups to where you're still maybe at a disadvantage talent wise. Because, I mean, let's be real, as good as, the team's playing right now, I think, half the games against the Big 12 opponents, they are probably less talented, but you couldn't tell, on pretty much any given Saturday with how they create opportunities. They move out the quarterback a lot. They they do a lot of creative stuff to maybe make up for, any shortcoming in talent.
And I think that it's like, as much as it is creative, the Beaty and less offenses, Beaty more, it was like, let our guys out athlete their guys. And we don't have those kind of guys. So in the situations when we're getting out athleted, there's not much we could do. And yeah, you said we still have the same amount of talent, but this feels like more of a full fist coming at you. Like, everybody is on the same page. Everybody's taking care of their individual thing. It's not like, let's throw the ball out to Lawrence Arnold and just let him try to go one-on-one in the backfield.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah, I'd say, because Beaty, before he was at KU, he came from Texas A&M, where he was like co-offensive coordinator with like Cliff Kingsbury, and they had Johnny Manziel throwing to Mike Evans, and like, Coach, we don't got that. It was like, I love some of this stuff, and love the guys we had, but also that offensive line at A&M, they had like 3 first-round draft picks, so they could drop back in a shotgun and just air it out, let guys go deep, and we couldn't necessarily do that. And kind of same thing with Les, with some of the stuff he had. It was like, all right, he's coming from LSU, where he had Leonard Fournette, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and it's like, yeah, we're not getting the same push up front, or we're not able to just sit back there behind the line for 8 seconds and chuck bombs. So yeah, I think that's something that this staff does really well. They kind of play perfectly for the roster that they have. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talented guys on our current roster, but I think they just do a lot of creative things to promote some yardage.